So ESPN got bold again. That actually rhymed. ESPN got bold again. Well, yeah. ESPN gave another bold prediction for the Cincinnati Bengals offseason this year. You saw my last video, their last bold prediction. The reason why I'm acting like this is because the last bold prediction was that we were going to franchise tag T. Higgins. They released that a month ago. If you haven't been following Bengals at all, it's very, very, very obvious they're going to franchise tag T. Higgins. He's a free agent after this year. He's a free agent in about a month from now. And there's no reason not to give him franchise tag at this point. If he becomes a free agent, he's just going to leave us and go to the team that offers him the most money. So you have a franchise, you give him a franchise tag, either exclusive or non-exclusive. Again, exclusive franchise tag is 1 year, $25 million. No other teams can talk to him. We have from February 5th to July 23rd to work out a contract with him. After July 23rd, it becomes a 1 year contract. You cannot work on a long-term contract after that. But you have that period of time where you're able to work on a long-term contract with him. A non-exclusive tag would be that we give him $19 million for 1 year. Keep in mind, if he does end up going to franchise tag, it's a fully guaranteed 1 year. So if we're not able to work out a contract with him, we give him the non-exclusive tag. Then it's a 1 year, $19 million contract, or another team that have a first round pick this year, has to have a first round pick this year, by the way. They are able to give us 2 first round picks and then give T. Higgins a contract. And we have the ability to either say, okay, we'll take the 2 first round picks, have a good day, or we can go ahead and match that offer and keep T. Higgins for that money. So those are our 2 options, right? There's zero option of letting him go. You're going to give him a franchise tag, if anything. So ESPN got bold again. And this time, it's not the fact that they think we're going to franchise tag him. They think we're going to franchise tag him, and then we're going to trade T. Higgins. Now, I'm going to say this right now. I love T. Higgins. If you've been watching me, you've been following my channel, you know he is my favorite player. Number 1 is T. No question. It's always been T. Number 1 has always been T. Higgins. Number 2, I would say Chase. 3, Burrow. 4, Logan Wilson. 5, it's kind of up in the air. There's a lot of guys on number 5 there. 5 guys. On the road note, though, so I love T. Higgins. So I never want to see T leave. But at the end of the day, I also want to see what's best for our team. So I would not be the guy that's going to say, if we trade T. Higgins, this is the worst thing possible. I don't want to see it. But at the same time, if it's best for the team, it's best for the team. Here's the problem with trading T. Higgins, okay? Because I think a lot of people expect it to be very easy. Just trade him away. He goes somewhere else. You get a bag for him, and everything is good. That's simply not the case. So, whoever they trade T. Higgins to, before they trade T. Higgins to that said team is going to have to work out a contract with T. Right? Because what's the point of trading him to another team and saying, hey, man, we got a franchise tagged T. Higgins here, 1 year, $25 million. There you go. Take the $25 million. And, oh, yeah, by the way, you got to work out a contract with him. The team's going to be like, well, there's not much really, 100% he's going to stay with us, so we're not going to give you that much. So there needs to be a working around of T wants to go somewhere. Cincinnati has to work out a deal with that team. And then T also has to work out a deal with that said team as well. So there's multiple different angles. And then you got to look at the last part of this. And this is the difficult part. Because not only do we have to pick a team T wants to play for, we also now are going to have to pick a team that, has a salary cap to afford him. And you might say, well, who cares? We'll just pick the team we want to pick. The problem is we won't get a bag then. If you want to get a bag, you have to get a bag by trading him to the team that he's going to sign with, because then they're signing a 6-year or 5-year receiver, and they're giving you that much money for that so they can avoid free agency, right? So, all that aside, here's another problem with this idea of trading T. Higgins. We tried trading Jonah Williams last year. We wanted a first or a second. At worst, a second. We wanted a first round pick. And we tried to shop him. We tried to. We contacted different teams. It was almost a trade done with the Jacksonville Jaguars, with the New York Jets. There were back and forth trades. Nobody agreed to our offer. One thing about Cincinnati, they value their players. They do. And they don't look at their players as, okay, well, let's offload him for a third or fourth round pick and move on with our lives. No. If they see a starting asset, in order for them to move on from a starting asset, they're going to have to get starting asset money or starting asset value back in draft capital or player, right? So, with how hard it was for us to trade away, what's his name, Jonah Williams, and we failed to do it because we wanted too much value, I don't see a reality where a team, even if it is a good deal, what they offer us, a team's going to offer us enough money or enough draft capital or player or combo that we would trade away T. That's my only problem, so that's the reason I don't believe we're going to trade away T. Higgins. Because I think if we try to trade away T. Higgins, Cincinnati's going to want 2 firsts minimum. That's a talking point. You give us 2 firsts and then we start talking. And then they're going to say, okay, well, we want 2 firsts. We probably want maybe a third or a fourth in there too. And we might even want a player. And I don't know how many teams are going to be interested in doing that. I'm sure there's a lot of teams that want him, and there are. There is 31 clubs who would love to have T. Higgins on their roster. The problem is they're going to have to give him a long-term contract, get that figured out. And if they give up enough draft capital, then they're going to say, well, it's not worth it. And Cincinnati's going to value him as top dollar premium, which they should, because he's a top 15 receiver in the NFL. And when he's fully healthy, he's one of the best. And with T coming off a kind of mediocre season with due to injuries, that's another thing that's going to hurt his his trade value, is the fact he's not coming off a crazy great year. Now, he has a great track record, right, of playing great and playing amazing, but at the end of the day, it's all in the NFL. It's all about what have you done lately? What have you done recently? What crazy things have you gone through? So, I just don't see us trading him because I don't think we're going to get matched with the correct value of what we want for him. And then also it's the logistics of figuring out who is going to, where did he want to go? Where does he want to play for? What money are they going to pay him? And then are we going to be able to work out a trade? And we're not going to, and the thing is, right, because we're trying to keep him. We're trying to keep T. We got to work out the contract with Jamar Chase, and then working out a contract with T. We want to keep T. Higgins on this squad. We don't want him to leave. So, we're not even amped to push it and go out there and say, oh yeah, hey everybody, who wants them? So, teams are going to have to, in theory, come to us and ask us. I know I said we had to reach out to a team, but we have to reach out to a team. If a team reaches out to us for a trade, then we have to work with T, and then the logistics, all that follows up. But at the end of the day, we're not even amped to trade the guy. So the amount of things that would have to go in the correct order for us to trade T. Higgins, I think would be in a very bad, it would be almost impossible. And if we do go ahead and keep him, let's say we don't look at a contract, we're looking for at the end of the day, we keep him on the franchise tag for 1 year, $25 million. I know it's a lot of money, but you got to keep in mind, this is a Super Bowl team. When Joe's fully healthy for a whole season, this is a Super Bowl team. And Mike Brown knows that. Zach Taylor, Duke Tobin, Katie Blackburn, they all know that. We right now have a Super Bowl roster. And if that's the case, you're not going to move on. You can't afford to move on from a number 1 wide receiver in T. Higgins. Unless you have enough draft capital, enough value back that you're going to be able to replace him. And it's going to be really hard to find that trade partner. So while, yes, I agree that in theory, let's say, I don't know, perfect world here, a perfect world, in my opinion, would be signing T. Higgins to a long-term contract. But if we can't, perfect world, if we cannot sign the long-term contract, would be we trade him for maybe 2 first-round picks, a third-round pick, and a player. But the perfect world, I don't think exists. Because I don't think anyone's going to do that. If he had a contract that was favorable already under contract, we probably would. We could probably find that value. But whoever we trade him to has to give him a long-term contract. And has to give him the money he wants. And he's not just going to leave us and go play for Joe Smuck down the street. He wants to go play for a team he wants to play for. Could be Tennessee. Tennessee has the money. And then you got to think about it with Tennessee, Brian Callahan just started there. So is he, and I know a lot of people are like, well, he's going to try to go out there and get T. Higgins. I understand he will. But as a brand new head coach of the Tennessee Titans, do you think his first thing he's going to do is trade away 2 first-round picks to go get T. Higgins, 2 first-round picks, probably a third-round pick, and have to pay T. Higgins $100 million just so he can go play for his team? That's a lot. That's a lot to ask for. And I know Brian loves T, and I know T loves Brian, but at the end of the day, you got to look at it smartly here. You're a brand new head coach in a brand new city and a brand new team, finally get an opportunity coming from an OC job. If the first thing you do is trade away the whole entire cow to get one player, and that one player, maybe he just doesn't work out, doesn't have good chemistry with Will Levis, because Will Levis is young, what happens then? Callahan's out of town. So we have to keep that in mind, right? Is that every team that could trade for him, there might be stipulations that would stop them from trading for him. Tell me down below your thoughts and opinions, guys. I'll see you guys next one. Peace.